The next paragraph reads, in the US, my parents sent me to private Spanish classes for 3 years, but I still find it very difficult to understand the other students around me. They talk so quickly and use a lot of slang. I can't criticize them though, because in English we do exactly the same. So it starts off with in the US, and you might be tempted to say en los Estados Unidos, but it sounds more natural to simply say en Estados Unidos. And we're going to capitalize this like this. So it's literally like saying in America. You wouldn't say in the America, right? So this is what is happening in Spanish here at the front. En Estados Unidos. My parents would be mis padres. They sent me. So this is, you can count this, right? They sent me, it's an event. So me mandaron. So dot past for mandar, to send, me mandaron. They sent me to private Spanish classes. Okay, so this too is going to be a. Now we have to tackle private Spanish classes. So first of all, we say what it is, and then we describe it. So classes up here are classes. And then private would be privados, or actually privadas, because classes is feminine. And then de español. Like this. So you really have to juggle the word order quite a lot to get it to sound natural in Spanish. So en Estados Unidos, mis padres me mandaron a clases privadas de español. And then we have a time frame for 3 years. So because this is a duration of time, we're using por, and then we're going to have 3 years, 3 años. But I still find it very difficult to understand the other students around me. Okay, so quite complicated sentences we're dealing with here. The word for but is going to be pero. We have a problem here with this word it, because to find this encontrar, so you might be tempted to say pero todavía lo encuentro, like this for I find it, right? But that would sound unnatural in Spanish. They would simply say, but still I find very difficult to understand the other students around me. They wouldn't say I find it. And this is the type of thing that I can't really give you a rule for. It simply comes from having a lot of contact with the language, and you get to understand or to feel what sounds natural and what doesn't sound natural, just because you're hearing it so much of the time around you. So to make it sound natural, we're going to get rid of this it, even though we would include it in English. So we're simply saying for 3 years here, but still I find it very difficult to understand. Okay, so encuentro muy difícil to understand is entender. The other students. Now here we have a verb followed by some kind of people, so you must remember to put in the personal a. Then the other students, los otros estudiantes. And then around me, we had this before, right, in a previous translation, the last one. So a mi alrededor. The next sentence is a lot simpler, right? They talk so quickly and use a lot of slang. So they talk would be hablan, and then so quickly, tan rápido. Here we have and. Now here again we come across something that we found in the last paragraph, because in English we say something like this: they talk so quickly and use. But in Spanish, you have to repeat the they twice. So it would be they talk so quickly and they use a lot of slang. You can't simply do like we have here in English, jumping, right? Because we've already said they talk so quickly and use, right? You have to repeat the they in Spanish. So it would be usan. Slang is modismos. So muchos modismos. Like this. This word is a lot of slangs, literally, I guess, muchos modismos. So this is important, right? Where we have they talk so quickly and they use a lot of slang, where you have to repeat it. If we go back to the first one, we have another example of this where I am 17 and in my last year of high school. You see how we didn't repeat the I am in English? We were just able to jump from I am 17 and in. Whereas in Spanish, we had to put I am 17 and I am in my last year of high school. We can't do that same leap that we are allowed in English. That sounds natural in English. So this is a good example of that same theme repeating itself now in Spanish. Finally, we have I can't criticize them. So we have no puedo for I can't. And we do have a verb critizar in Spanish, so it will be critizarlos, meaning referring to them. So let's get rid of all of this. So we have no puedo and criticarlos, right? So it will be so much will be tanto. I can't criticize them so much. No puedo criticarlos tanto. Because in English we do in exactly the same. Porque en inglés we do would be hacemos, and then exactamente lo mismo. You hear this lo mismo a lot for the same, but you could also put el mismo too. So here we have the full paragraph now. It's quite a long one. En Estados Unidos, mis padres me mandaron a clases privadas de español. This bit here was tricky because this is a feminine word and plural. So we had feminine and plural here to match it. Literally would be classes private of Spanish, completely backwards the word order. Then por 3 años, pero todavía encuentro muy difícil. Here again, we don't include the it, so it's another thing to catch us out. But still, I find very difficult to understand. Then we have the personal a, los otros estudiantes around me, a mí alrededor. Hablan tan rápido y usan muchos modismos, a lot of slang. And again, they talk so fast and they use a lot of slang. I can't criticize them. No puedo criticarlos tanto porque, meaning I can't criticize them so much because en inglés hacemos exactamente lo mismo.